Welcome to the realm of Millenia. Be ye a man, a woman, a child, a spirit, a creature, or the Mahan. Be ye a native migrator, or maybe even an invader into the realm. Welcome, for I am your host, the Millennium Mailman, here today on another hump day hot take for you guys. Stop that. All right. So it is week 20 Devil's Advocate, and I'll be world building for you long after you've already begun to acclimate and fit in. So go ahead, sit back, relax, and enjoy, because it is week 20 Devil's Advocate, and the hot take for the week is going to be that all the legal court prison sentencings are generally correct, no matter how corrupt or how inevitably horrible decisions they are. Ultimately, the rationale behind them is 1000% correct and very justified to be as long or short as they are, right? To include the initial sentencing on what is considered life sentences being only 20 to 25 years long. Yeah. So, to include life sentencing only being 20 to 25 years for adults of the age 18 and older, that's all. That's just that, right? That's justified. Now I'll get into the number schematics of it, this conversation point, but ultimately it comes down to the fact that why that makes sense, why 20 to 25 years should be considered a life sentence, and why that is reasonable or not. That's pretty much the hot take on it, right? Further ado, let's get into these numbers, right? Point number one here is that legally, here in America anyway, it is a life sentence carries the cost of 20 to 25 years, right? Now, let's talk about how long people live from the age of 21 years old, or 0, the year you were born, up until the age 20, 25. You're still a kid, you're still a child, maturing and whatnot, right? From the age of 20, 25 to 40 years old to 50 years old, you're basically a full-blown adult. There's no exceptions to be made. You're in your 30s and your 40s, you're a full-blown adult regardless, right? From the ages of 40 to 50 years to 60 to 75 years old, right? Where 1 to 25, you're still a kid. 25 to 50, you're full-blown adult. And then from 50 to 75 years old, you are an elder with life to spare, excuse you, and life to go on. Then on the lower end of that spectrum, 1 to 20 years old, you're still a kid. 21 to 40, you're basically a full-blown adult. And then from 40 to 60, you're an elder, right? And gosh forbid you live to be like in your 80s or something. You lived a whole extra life, right? But going from that average range, all in all, head forth. But God forbid you got a good. Oh, there's more numbers in there. No. But ultimately, back to it. Making it by the end of your life, there is a good 10 years gap, right? Where on the low end, it's 60 to 75 years. 60, high end, 75 years if the average, without encumbrance of human life expectancy is 75 years, right? 60 to 75, that's a good 10, 15 year gap of pretty much exclusively free time, which can kind of increase for like biblical values, where I think it's like 14 years old is considered when you're no longer a child and you're pretty much an adult, but you still might have oversight for, I believe it's biblical faith specifically, right? For like Jewish and Hebrews, like the age of 14, 15, 16, right? So just shift that over more to the left end. There you go, a full 20 years of extra life that may or may not really fall in one of those categories. If you live up to the age of 75, you ultimately had a good 20 extra years, where, again, that's where that life sentencing can kind of come in, of 20 to 25 years being effectively life. That's all your free time in life, right? Because you had your time as a child, that first 14, 15 years of your life. You had a mid-range of 20 to 40, where you got to have your early life. Then you have your 40 to 60, which is your later life. And then if you have any extra time left over, that you just sprinkle that across your whole life as an immaturity. You going on adventure, you doing this, that. You have 15 extra years in there up until the day you die. 15 plus. That's a whole life sentence. So the whole point of prison systems is the fact that you go to prison, and the only reason you don't stay there till you die initially, for even the most minor of crimes, is that you can be reformed. Yes, he's a petty thief. Send him to prison, let him learn some consequences, let him out. Hope he doesn't do it again. He's been changed. He's a changed man now, right? So when you get these life sentences, it's to take away all the extra spare time that you would have, could have, should have, would have had you not been sent to prison, right? Had you not done anything to warrant you being put in prison, you would have had probably up to an extra 20 to 25 years of your life that you could have spent sprinkling throughout your life to just be to be spent however you so chose it to be. But again, on that lower end, if you just live from the general age gap of that 60 to 70 years old, and you don't live to like 60 to 80, where from that 60 to 70-year-old gap of 10 years, you can, God forbid, as I have it written here, God forbid you get a good 6 to 8 hours sleep every day, for an average of 7 hours from your age range of 20 to 50 years old. That's approximately 81,000 hours of sleep across that's a good 81,000 hours of sleep. That equates to nearly 9.2 years. So if the midpoint in your life from the age of 20 to 50 years, if you get an average of 7 hours of sleep every day, you will spend 9.2 years of your life sleep, which would eliminate that 10-year gap on the minimum range side, right? But outside of that, that's 9.2 years of your life slept on, literally, of your adult life, not including your irregularly long nights as a growing child or naturally longer rest in your retirement up to death. Because children tend to sleep. Stop it. God, I'm just dying. Because children tend to sleep a bit more often and a bit longer for the growing phase. So taking the child years of 1 to 20, 25 out of there, and taking the elder taking the elder years of 50 and beyond also out of the equation as well. where older people tend to be on a whole different time, be they sleeping less or more, just taking that out of the equation. If you, in that center point of your adult life, take up an average 7 hours of a day for that 30-year age range of 20 to 50 years old, you will naturally be spending 9.2 years of your life sleep, which means a good almost 10 years of your freedom time range is slept on. Man. Whew. I think my voice is better. I need to sip on some tea or something. All right? But that alone, with those age period gaps from child to full adult and elder and beyond, or child 1 to 20 to 25, full adult 20 to 25 to 40 to 55, 20 to 25 to 40 to 50, and then you have the elders range from that 40 to 50 onward to the 60 to 75. That leaves that 10 to plus age gap of difference. We're in point 2. If you work as an adult into retirement, you got no more than 10 to 35 years of quote unquote free time as an elder, with that status of an elder, right? Where elder starts officially from 40s to 50 range up until the day you die. So from the age of 50 to the age of 75 or the age of 40, if you get consider what is considered an early retirement, 40s to 50s, 40 to the day you die, life expectancy is 65 years old for you. That's 25 years of free time. If you're are able to like initiate an early retirement and stop working at the age of 40 or 45 and you die at the age of 75, that means you got a good 35 years on you, right? So 10 to 35 years of free time from your status as an elder would make for, which is more like 25 years or less, right? When you factor in how much of that time your body spends putting you in automatic shutdown sleeper mode, right? Regularly scheduled program, hashtag the soaps for your sleeper mode. You got 25 years of time, of free time in your elder retirement stages of life. The whole point of you getting a life sentence at any point in your life after the age of 18, which round up in your 20s, right? The whole point of that is to take away all of your free time status as an elder. So when you get a life sentence of 20 to 25 years, if you do manage to get out of prison, and the whole idea is that you spend the rest of your life working because your actions cost you all of your free time in life. If you want to just live, you'll spend the rest of your life working to live because whatever fun or stupid thing you did to land you a life sentence, you paid it with your life, your free time in life. So it's over, right? Next point, where we got rid of death sentencing for humanitarian ethics factors and reasons, right? For the sake of second chances and to also warrant the use of your skills and your capabilities, right? If we put people to death, the whole society as a whole might lose that opportunity of this person coming back out and putting their actual skills to use to something, right? So better to keep them alive so that when they get out, should they choose to genuinely turn over that new leaf, there would be that opportunity for them to build society and make a profit, and then maybe have 5 years worth of free time left that they can do what they will with. It would have been far better if they could use that full 25 to 35 years in their older age, but actions have consequences, right? But yeah, everyone wants to be complete and whole, and part of that comes in tandem to the mental stability and rationale, which can naturally wane in the suffering type of solitude of literal direct confinement and imprisonment. So when cultures, groups, societies, governments, communities, and so on and so forth tend to isolate themselves into that modernized belief of me first before family in place of family first, and that for family best interest is the whole reason why there are less and less cohesions in family. Hashtag no one's above the law, right? Where if everyone was under this model of not putting themselves first with the whole progressivist movements going on, we'd probably be better off as a society as far as the criminal aspects, because there are plenty of criminals who are kind of in prison because they put themselves first, right? Part of that whole prisoner mentality was they were a bit too ambitious, and they got the excitement of the hustle got ahead of them, and they made what may be considered a stupid choice that landed them a rather hefty consequence, right? Which put them in a position where they may have not felt they had much of a choice unless they felt like droning away for the rest of their life with no real payout. And a lot of people end up, especially ones with these 20 to 25 years to life imprisonment, when they get out, they're like, I want to do something big, might as well. What are they going to do? Throw me back in prison and really make me spend the rest of my days there? I might as well go big, have ambition, or go home. And by home, I mean back to that prison cell they just took me out of, right? Where if they had that concept of family first and just doing with and for the family, for the sake of cohesion, more or less, there would be far less people getting turned into gullible henchmen of their habits and the ideas of the hustle. There would be less people enslaved by the hustle than people using the mentality of ambition and hustle to further themselves and their families. But because people are rather selfish in their mentalities, that is the whole reason why the mentality of ambition and hustle is landing a lot more people in prison than what we might have figured it for. Because no one's above the law, right? Because, again, the prison system was made for the whole reformation aspect. The only reason we got rid of the death sentence was this idea that we'd be able to do something that is a bit more human, that'll allow us to take people out of the prison system to be more productive members of society, or at least allow them back into the productive aspect of society, right? And unfortunately, that got lost somewhere. So, hey, that's just me, your Millennium Mailman talking. Let's end the video before I get talking a bit too much extra crazy. So, hey, that's just me. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, share the video for more exposure, or subscribe if you feel like it, dislike the video if you don't. By all means, contact me at the emails at millenniummailman@gmail.com, or go into the community tab, respond to the post I got going down every week at Millennium Mailman on this channel, Realm of Millenia. Contact me there by that means. I love the comments. Excuse you. I love the comments. Love the commentary. Try to respond to all of you often as possible on a Mailman Monday. Right? No one is above the law. But that is pretty much it, the hot take for the week. And again, that hot take was that all the court prison sentencings for what is considered that life sentence and why it is 20 to 25 years is rather reasonable, right? The idea that 20 to 25 years can be considered a life sentence is surprisingly reasonable. Now, if you think that the life sentence should include the death sentence, that's a whole different conversation. But the hot take is that 20 to 25 years is rather reasonable, and that it takes away all the free time of someone's after working life, right? But that's it. Bye. Peace. Hope you have a good one. Peace, love, happiness, all those words. I'll just be making videos long after the gears have turned that way. Bye-bye.